Listen to our song. Loving nature's what we do, so won't you come along? We'll journey on together, sharing what we know, looking for adventure everywhere we go. We're Pathfinders. Good morning, Pathfinders, and welcome back. We're here again for another year of nature studies. My name is Kirsty. If I haven't met you before, a big welcome along to our nature studies session with Twinkle Home Ed. It's great to have you joining us this morning. A quick pre-warning, my internet has been a little bit glitchy this morning, and I've got everything crossed that it works and that I don't disappear. If disaster strikes, don't worry. We'll whip another link back together for you and reappear. So don't worry about that. Well, welcome along. Should we see who's joining us today? I can see we've got some familiar names popping up in our chat this morning. A big welcome. Oh, lots of people saying they've missed Pathfinders. I've really missed it too. But do you know what, Pathfinders? We never stop exploring nature, do we? Even if we're not meeting every week, like all through the summer, I'll bet you've had loads of great nature spots and you've been exploring and out and about in nature. Well, let's say good morning to Aniqua. You are first in this morning. Hello to Georgia, Maya, Lily, Sophie, Sam and Killian and Maya. Oh, fantastic. Storm can't wait for the crafts. Hello from Eleanor, who's super excited that Pathfinders is back. Hi, Willow and Caden and Saoirse and Noah and Theo and Matthew and Zach. Hello from George. Oh my goodness, there are so many of us watching. I think I would be here all morning if I shouted everyone out. I can see there is 129 of us all here, ready to get stuck in. So a big welcome to all of you. And if you're watching on catch up, thanks for tuning in. That's an important reminder with all our live lessons. If you miss it live, don't panic. You can watch on catch up later on at a time that suits you. Good morning, everyone. Right, shall we get started and dive into autumn? Because autumn is a pretty amazing season. I know for loads of you, it's your favourite season, isn't it? And it's a beautiful season as well. So let's kick off with a bit of a quiz. Now, I've made it quite easy for you today because in this quiz, I'm actually just going to give you all the answers. I know, but hang on, there is a twist because I'm going to give you the answers, but I'm not going to give you the questions. Right then, Pathfinders. Let's see. Oh, we've got black screen. We've got a black screen, but you can hear me. There's not a picture. It's a black screen. Oh dear. Oh no. Now you can. So do you think it's the camera? But you can hear me, but you can't see me. Right, okay. You can see the questions, but you can't see me. Okay, thank you, everybody. It looks like it's just me you can't see. As long as you can hear me, that's amazing. Thank you for letting me know in the chat. Okay, right. Well, I'll talk you through this, even though you can't see me. Let's have a little look then. Here's the answer, but what's the question? Let's have a little look. So we've got our answer there at the bottom. A day in September when the hours of daylight and darkness are almost equal? So that's the answer, but what could the question be? What do you think? What could the question be? Let's look at that answer again. A day in September when the hours of daylight and darkness are almost equal. I think it's normally around the 21st, 22nd of September. Should we find out? Lots of people saying equinox. Zach thinks autumn equinox. Let's have a look. Yes, so our question there was, what is the autumnal equinox? So a day in September when the hours of daylight and darkness are almost equal. Let's have a look at the next one. When some birds fly south for the winter. Okay, so that is the answer, but what is the question? Anybody know? What do you think? The question, we think, Roisin says, what is migration? We think that could be the question. Yeah, a few people agreeing. Aniqua agrees. Bailey, yeah, lots of people in agreement. Shall we see? Yes, well done. What is migration? Some birds fly south for the winter. Next one. It helps the trees conserve water and energy during the cold winter months. Okay, so there's our answer, but what could the question be about? What helps trees conserve water and energy during the cold winter months? These are all autumn-themed questions. So think about trees in autumn. Sorry if I jiggle with the screen a bit here. I am trying to, in the background, fix the camera. What do you think then? Something to do with the sun? Something to do with hibernation? What do you reckon? What do we think? Fergal's got a possible question there. Why do trees lose their leaves in autumn? Noah and Theo agree, so does Finley. And Archie and Ben think so too. Yes, why do some trees drop their leaves in autumn? It's all about conserving that energy and that water through those winter months. Well done, guys. You're excellent at this. Should we try another? Salmon are famous for doing this to get to their spawning sites. Famous for doing what? What do you think? So in the autumn, towards the end of the summer and as autumn approaches, what does salmon do? They're spawning sites. So a site where they would lay eggs and the site which they were born on. So we think, yeah, swimming upstream. So our question might be, yeah. Storm says the question could be, can fish jump? Because Storm says salmon can jump really high. Lots of people thinking, yeah, swimming upstream. What might they find as they head upstream? What might they have to do? I think Storm was on the right lines. What might they encounter as they swim up through the middle course, maybe the upper course of the river? Let's have a look. Which fish travels upstream in early autumn, often leaping up the waterfalls? Yes, they can leap as they go through the river, propel themselves out of the water. It does kind of look like they're flying up the waterfalls, all to get upstream to those important spawning sites. Let's see the next one. So the answer is these insects will huddle up in large groups to increase their chances of surviving winter. Which insects? What do you think? Any ideas? So I'll give you a few clues here. Let's think. So insects which are normally seen probably by themselves or don't necessarily live in groups, but through the autumn they start to live in bigger groups. What could it be? We've got a few suggestions for bees. Why do bees huddle up? Noah and Theo say perhaps bees could use their wings to keep each other warm. Harlow and Havana think ants. Harry agrees with you. What are you going for? What do you think? Should we find out? It's actually ladybirds, although I think you're on definitely the right track because a lot of insects will huddle together to keep warm. But in this example, I use ladybirds because often they're not in groups, but if you find them in the autumn and they will be huddling up. Often they can be found around the edge of a windowsill or something like that because they're using the warmth from the house, perhaps under a flower pot, but they'll try and get to the warmest place and snuggle up together. Right then, Pathfinders, I'm going to see, has anything changed? Can you now see me? This? I'm hoping that something might work. I know you'll let me know in the chat. Right then, I reckon it's time we headed off on a nature walk now. And this is normally when I hand over to you lot. I hand over to the Pathfinder Pack Presenters. Oh, you can't see me. Oh, I'm sorry. No, I don't have a webcam cover. Oh, I don't know what's happened there. Okay, fingers crossed. This video works. We're heading off out on a nature walk. See what I got up to this week.
Finders, it's nature walk time and today it's my turn. I've headed somewhere with a lot of trees and so I'm going to see how many I can identify. Maybe you can help. This one I think is a pretty easy one to identify because it's got such a distinct bark. Do you know what it is? Its leaves look like this and you can just see it's starting to produce some seeds too. What's that tree, Pathfinders? Yes, a silver birch. I've found another tree and this one is covered with lots of lichen.
Do you know what lichen is? Is it a plant? Is it a fungus? Well, it's both, but more about that in a few weeks' time.
Here's the leaves of this tree. Have you worked out which one it is yet? And I found a seed on the ground. What's that tree? An oak tree. Well done. This tree has lots of low-hanging branches. In fact, it's a pretty cosy den under here. But can we identify the tree? Let's take a closer look. Here's the bark with a little bit of moss growing on it. This one has quite large flat leaves and they're dark green. Now you have to really look for the seeds here, but under this branch, take a look at that. Any ideas what this mystery tree can be? Well, it's actually a lime tree. But it's not a lime tree in the sense that this tree is going to grow those limes that we might know as that green fruit. This lime tree produces these seeds or fruit here. You'll be able to spot them because growing alongside those seeds, there is a different type of leaf. This is called a bract, and it's a longer, paler green leaf. It looks different to the other leaves on the lime tree. Time for another tree, and I can't get too close to this one because there's a lot of brambles in the way. It is also growing next to a river, and these trees love being near a pond or a river or in some boggy, wet conditions. Let's have a look at the leaves and see if we can identify it. here are the leaves. We've got a wavy edge, bright green, tough leaves. Can we spot any seeds if we look further up the tree? Aha! We can see both the male and female seeds growing here. We've got the more rounded, oval-shaped female ones and those longer male ones. But do we know what tree it is? Well done if you said an alder tree. Right, our last tree is so beautiful. I thought I've got to show you it from a distance. Can you identify it from all the way back here? Have a look. I'm heading a bit closer, Pathfinders. Any ideas now? Look at those long, huge leaves. Can you spot any seeds up there? A closer look at these brilliant leaves. Ooh, makes a rather lovely beard. These seeds began as flowers, and once pollinated by insects, they develop into these big, spiky balls. They will fall to the ground, and inside, what will you find? A shiny, glistening conker. So what's the tree, Pathfinders? A horse chestnut tree. It's really starting to rain here, Pathfinders. Another sign that autumn has definitely landed. But we won't let that spoil our fun. Time for a little game.
Take a close look at these items. Rowan tree berries, blackberries, a horse chestnut leaf, piece of grass, an alder seed, a pink flower as yet unidentified, beech tree seed, an acorn, an oak leaf and a dandelion leaf. Try and memorise what's there. In a moment, I'm going to cover these over and remove one of these items. Get ready. Now let's see which item is missing. Can you tell? It was the oak tree leaf. Ready? Something else has disappeared this time. What's missing? It was the alder seed. Let's try again. Now what's missing? Let's just put that back. Right, now what was there on the left? Can you remember? The dandelion leaf. Should we have one more go? What's missing this time? Any ideas? The blackberries.
Well, I am totally soaked, Pathfinders, but I did have fun on our nature walk today. I hope you did too.
Okay, Pathfinders, everything crossed that you can see me now. I've managed to find a webcam and plug it in. Let me know if you can now see me. Well done. Oh, you did well with that memory game. It was a bit tricky, wasn't it? Well, I got totally drenched on my nature walk this week, but it was definitely worth it. I loved discovering all those trees. Oh no, you still can't see me. Okay, right, not to worry. We move on. Stick with me, everybody. I'm very glad that you're still here, sticking with me this morning. Right, let's have a look and learn a little bit more about some of those seeds that I discovered. I'm hoping that you can now hear me. Fingers crossed. What about this one? Drop and roll. Some fruits such as horse chestnut, any luck with that now? If you can hear me, let me know. I've tried 3 different ways now to get through to you. Yes, you can hear me again. Okay, right. I'm not going to touch anything else as long as you can hear me. Oh, you guys, I am so grateful to you for bearing with me. Do you know what? I was chatting with Lizzie Twinkle this morning, and we said there will be there always seems to be, with the first live lesson of the year, some sort of glitch, some sort of tech issue. And it's very frustrating, isn't it? Oh, very frustrating for you and for me. So I'm really glad we've all stuck together through this. Right then, so we were on horse chestnuts. Let's recap here. We got these big, heavy horse chestnuts hanging up in the tree. They drop to the ground with a thud, crack open, and what's inside? Yes, those conkers. You can tell which horse chestnuts in the trees are ripe because their casings have begun to split open before they drop. If we look at that picture there, we can see the casing has started to go a bit more of a light yellow browny color. It's not fresh and green anymore. That's nearly ready to drop, isn't it? Right then, well done everybody. Let's see if we can put our knowledge to the test then with a little game. Right, we've got a few pictures of seeds here. But can you tell me how these seeds would be dispersed? Sometimes they might be a bit of a mixture of 2 different methods. So what seeds have we got here first of all? Can we recognise those? Yes, those ones are acorns. Well done. But how are those dispersed? What do you think? Perhaps catching a lift and food, Storm thinks. Perhaps wind. We've got a few different suggestions here. Well done, Harry. You were spot on saying those were acorns. What about the dispersal? How are they going to travel? Perhaps eat. A lot of people are saying eaten, some saying wind. What are we going with? Could be a mixture of different ones. So I've matched it to the closest one because sometimes, yes, they are eaten. Well, they sort of rely on those animals, don't they, as well? So they're a bit of a sort of drop and roll away from the tree, but they're moved around by animals, not necessarily all eaten. Those of you that have been with Pathfinders for ages now, do you remember we talked about squirrels? I think it was probably about this time last year. We were talking about how squirrels will hide little hordes of acorns in lots of different places, but they hide so many and they're so busy that quite often they forget where they've buried some away. So they are dispersed, yeah, in that way. But also, yes, eaten. Well done. And I guess sometimes the wind plays a part in any seed dispersal, doesn't it? Okay, what about these? How do you think those ones are dispersed? Oh, Amaya has seen the squirrels in her garden. Have you taken the acorns from the tree? They're rather sneaky, those squirrels, aren't they? So we're thinking these ones could be relying on the wind, could be a shaker, could be an exploder. What do you think? Explode, shake? Yes, explode or shake. Look at those long, long, long stems. And we've got that seed pod at the top. That's normally quite a good clue, that shape with the long stem and the seed pod filled with seeds ready to be shaken out and dispersed. Have a look at this one then. Aha, we talked about this one a little earlier. Remember the name of it? What tree is this growing on? A sycamore tree, well done. And how are those going to get dispersed? They look like they're almost ready to go. Well done, by the wind. Super, right. We've got these ones. Well, what do you think about these? These are called burrs. They grow on the burdock plant. What do you reckon? Is the wind going to do the work or the water? Will they get eaten? They don't look particularly tasty. They're a bit spiky, aren't they? So yeah, I think most of you going with catching a lift. Look at those spikes. Actually, lots of tiny little hooks on the end, ready to hook on to a passing animal and catch a lift. Oh, you're right, Harry. Yes, sheep would do that job brilliantly, wouldn't they, with their big furry fleece. Well done, guys. We've got one more. What are you going with for this one? These are catkins from a willow tree. What do you think to this? Sometimes the shape and the look of these seeds can give us the biggest clue, can't it, to how they're going to be dispersed. What are you going with? Lots of people in agreement on this one, all saying wind, some saying water. Yes, wind and water. So if you said one of those, you're spot on. You'll often see a weeping willow hanging over a river. And those seeds are so tiny and light, a bit like the dandelion seeds. They've got that fluffy look, haven't they? So light that they can just float along the water's surface to be dispersed that way. But yes, also blown in the wind. Well done, everyone. Fantastic. Right then. What is it time for now? Okay, well, ordinarily in Pathfinders last year, we would always have a spot of the week, and we're going to carry that on. So let's have a little look at our spot of the week for this week. I was out and about, as you know, in amongst the trees. Let's see what I found.
Every week on our Pathfinder sessions, we have a different spot of the week. See if you can have a go at this week's. So just like I did on my nature walk today, your spot of the week challenge this week is to go in search of lots of different trees. I wonder how many different seeds you can find. Remember, Pathfinders, some seeds may have fallen to the ground already, but others you may need to look up. They might well still be attached to the tree. So look up and down and all around for your seed spot of the week.
A reminder that in our Pathfinders scrapbook resource, you'll find a cutout perfect for adding your spot of the week to.
Good luck, Pathfinders, and let us know how you get on. You could take a photo of the seeds you discover and add it to your scrapbook, or do some sketching. I can't wait to see all the amazing seeds we discover together.
And I reckon that we should set that as a challenge for ourselves. See how many we can discover, how many different types of seed. Let us know how you get on. Right then, time for a brand new feature to Pathfinders. We're finding paths around the world to support our Adventure of the World theme and just to stretch our branches a little wider into the world. I thought we would add this new section to our session. So let's have a little look at seed dispersal around the world, as that's what we've been exploring this week. I've got something super cool to share with you. And here we go. Right, first of all, we're off to Brazil. Here's our Around the World postcard with an interesting story about seed dispersal, which happens in Brazil. Let's find out a bit more. The largest freshwater wetlands in the world are found in Brazil. This area becomes totally flooded each year at around about the same time, as many plants are releasing their fruits. So the floods happen, the plants release their fruits. Let's see who else gets involved. This is the fish that helps to disperse the seeds. The pacu fish swim through those flooded lands, munching on the fruit, and the intact seeds then appear again when the fish poos. And there it is, the pacu fish. This is the best photo that I could find to share with you, but have a look. Go and search it up if you're allowed. Check with an adult first. Go and search it. See if you can find a photo. These fish are really unusual looking, particularly their teeth. Their teeth look almost like human teeth. It's a really odd look for a fish. So you can have a little look at that later on. So the fish are helping with that seed dispersal. Rather unusual. We're quite used to thinking about maybe animals doing it, but fish getting involved in the action in Brazil. We've got another postcard, a message this time from Africa about a very large mammal who helps with seed dispersal. What do you reckon it could be? Researchers in Africa found that dung from the Congo forest elephants contains seeds from 73 different tree species. That is a lot of different species, isn't it? All those different seeds. Elephants travel huge distances, so they help spread the seeds far and wide. This is really important for plants living in harsh conditions because it reduces the level of competition for nutrients between the plants. So imagine if a plant releases its seeds and all of those seeds try and grow together, there maybe isn't going to be enough nutrition in the ground for them all to grow and all to thrive. So the elephants, by spreading them out across all the miles they travel, fantastic, they're going to be spread out and we're going to have lots more plants across that area. So there we go. Another interesting fact, and that one all the way from Africa. Right then, Pathfinders, I think it's time we had a little look at what we've been up to since we all last met. Every week in a Pathfinder session, I set you a Scraptastic challenge. And this week is no different. Stay tuned for this week's Scraptastic challenge. But before we do that, let's take a look at what you got up to in our last challenge, which was a nature photography challenge. Let's have a look at your rather wonderful photographs and some artwork too. absolutely brilliant. Well done, everyone. I loved looking at your photos. So it's time for a new Scraptastic challenge. Let's take a look at what it is this week.
Time for a Scraptastic challenge. This week, we're making some autumn-themed bunting. Grab some scrap paper and draw some triangles that will make our bunting, then cut it out. I've printed off some of the illustrations from our Pathfinders scrapbook to use to decorate my bunting, but you could draw your own pictures or add stickers or any other decorations you've got. I've coloured in some of my pictures and cut them out. Now I have time to stick them onto the bunting, and I added a background colour and some patterns too. Now to connect the bunting triangles together, I've used some spare ribbon that I had, but you could use some string or some wool. I just folded down the top of each triangle and then used some sticky tape to secure the ribbon in place. And there's my finished autumnal bunting. I look forward to seeing yours, Pathfinders. Have fun!
So you can get started with your autumnal bunting whenever suits you. And maybe you think, oh, I'm not so keen on making bunting. Make a different kind of decoration. I would love to see anything, something to brighten up your space. Give it an autumnal theme. As always, Pathfinders, our Scraptastic challenges give you an idea, but it's totally up to you what you produce. And you will always surprise me with your creativity. So lastly, we're going to run through a quick checklist for this week. What are we all going to get up to before we meet again? Well, of course, we've got our Pathfinders scrapbook. For anyone who hasn't started one of these yet, or if you think, I'm going to start a new one fresh this year, then you can find the link below this video. Just click below and you'll see I've linked to our Pathfinders blog where you'll find all the information and each weekly resource will be shared there. So we've got our scrapbook. Here's a closer look at what's inside. There's all sorts. We've got a big front cover that you can use and different titles for each session. There's space to write stories and poems. There's lots of different cutouts, a weather journal, lots of different things, even space to write your spot of the week or your nature finds. So you maybe will need an old notebook or something like that. I think some people have used things like photo albums, and you can use that to create your scrapbook. Oops. We've got a couple of resources this week that I thought I'd share about seed dispersal. There's a sorting activity and that lovely one below is like a little hexagon that you can make and you can write the details of all the different types of dispersal to match up there. And a puzzle booklet. This one is packed full of lots of autumnal activities. There's colouring, word searches, lots of different things in there to keep you busy, Pathfinders, and properly dive into our autumn theme. Here's our checklist. So our spot of the week was, see how many seeds you can identify, either on trees or plants. Have a go at the puzzle time activity. Maybe even write a story for your scrapbook this week. You could write about the journey of a seed. Which type of seed dispersal journey will you pick? And your Scraptastic challenge to make some autumn-themed bunting. Well, I have had a brilliant time with you this morning. A huge sorry from me about technical glitches and you not being able to see me. I'm really sorry about that. Hopefully, well, I will get it fixed for when I'm back with you all again on Wednesday this week for our World Learners session. So I'll see you then. And hopefully you'll see me too. Have a brilliant rest of your day, Pathfinders, and I'll see you again soon. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Enjoy golden autumn sunsets. Discover seeds upon the ground. On our Pathfinder adventures, there are so many treasures to be found. We'll journey on together, sharing what we know, looking after nature everywhere we go. See you soon, Pathfinders.